in the spirit of this cozy and festive time of year, let's talk about cross stitch. Hello everyone, I'm Joanne, the Story Stitcher, and welcome back to my Flosstube channel where we chat about cross stitch. I hope you're having a wonderful day. It is autumn here, as you can probably tell by my background. It's November and it's beautiful weather outside here in California. We just got some rain. We got to start our first fires and got to enjoy a couple of crackling fires over the last few days. And that has been one of my favorite things. I absolutely love this time of year and I hope that you do too. I cannot wait to talk cross stitch with you and all the fun stitchy things. Today is a special episode with not one, but two finishes, including some progress on one of my absolutely favorite patterns. Now, hope you're cozy, hope you've got something warm to drink, something lovely to stitch on, and we are going to dive in. As I mentioned, I'm here in California. For those of you who don't know me, I'm an author and I have 3 kiddos of my own. I am recently married as of a few years ago, and my husband has 3 kids as well, which, if you've done the math, makes us the Brady Bunch. All we need is Alice. We haven't found one yet, but it's wonderful having a full house. And they're all teenagers. They come and go here and there, and they all have wonderful activities. And so it's been really a special season to watch them grow into young adults and do all the things with them. And I tuck away here in our family room. That's where I have my little stitchy spot. And it's kind of my little hideaway. And that is where I fill my floss tubes. It's where I store all my crafting supplies, which is kind of around me, including in this cabinet. And I've been thinking that as I have recently made some changes to this space, including the addition of some new furniture pieces that my wonderful dad helped me find because he is a yard sale guru, I hope at some point to get to show you more of my crafting space. So if you would like that, let me know. And today it's going to be all about the finishes, the whips, and a few other fun stitchy bits. You saw this in my intro, this beautiful little floss card, and I did a short on Instagram where I was showing that my dad made this for me. Isn't it sweet? It's made of wood. He used his woodworking tools, and I just hung some pretty floss on it. I think it will be, for one, it's going to be a treasure that I absolutely enjoy. I've been having it hanging up here on my hooks all week long. And I just put some floss on it to look pretty. It's not for a particular project. But since I don't really want to stick labels on this, I think I will probably use this for very specific projects. Probably ones that I obviously maybe are small, that has 6 colors or less. Perhaps ones where the colors are just really distinct and easy to follow, or one that I make my own color conversion. I also thought it could be nice for a monochromatic piece where all the floss are the same colors. So I'm going to play around with this, and I hope that you'll see this in a project soon. Isn't it sweet? Big thanks to Dad for making that. And he made me a few floss drops, which I'm going to show you. They're going to appear in a project here in a few minutes. What do you say we get into the finishes? I am absolutely delighted to have 2 finishes this week, and these are projects that I've had for a little while, including this one, this first one that I'm going to show you, which I've had for almost a year. Or let's see if that's true. Maybe it's been a little bit longer than a year. I started it in October of 2024, so it's just over a year that it took me to finish, and it is Sampler Holidays Halloween, and it's a Blueberry Ridge design. You've seen it a bunch of times here on my channel, and it's finally a finish. Would you like to see it? I was working on this, trying to get it done for Halloween. Didn't quite make it, but that's okay. Here it is, all finished now. I'm so proud of it. I have done this on a piece of vintage smoky white. It's a linen, and it's 32 count, and I'm stitching it 2/2, except that border. Whoops, is that upside down? Except that border, which I told you all in previous videos that I'm stitching, that I stitched 1/2. I'll get it close so you can sort of see. Whoops, the fan is blowing it. The last thing that I had to do was that bottom half and get the words Halloween done. So it was really special to have this be a finish. And I'm gonna be taking this soon to the craft store and looking for a large black frame. Probably where I'll start is Hobby Lobby. See if Hobby Lobby has a frame that will fit this. I just think a big chunky black frame would be so pretty for Halloween, or maybe wood, but I want something that feels very kind of stately, maybe a little gothic. Let's see where it goes. If I can't find something at the craft store, I can try, of course, other craft stores. I could custom frame this, but I'm gonna start there and see what I can find. So that is finish number 1. And just over a year and 1 month, or even a year and a few days, because it was almost done for Halloween. And I finished this a few weeks ago. And I absolutely loved this linen. It's done in all 310 DMC. And that is finish number 1. It felt good to get to put a little iron on it. I just did a little dry iron because I'll iron it properly when I frame it. But that is a finish. And as I show you these finishes, I'm actually going to let you in on a little secret that I have a new start. Not today, but it's coming, and I'm going to talk more about that. And so in order to start that, because it's a big piece that I am dreaming of, and I wanted to get 2 finishes. I wanted to have the commitment, you know, and the stick with itness of getting some of my current lips done before I brought out another big project. And this one's gonna be the biggest one I've ever done. And so I decided to kind of hold myself accountable and get 2 finishes before I allowed myself to begin. So finish number 2 is sitting right here, and it's in my little project bags. You guys know I love these little 2-zipper project bags. I have linked them in the past. I will link them below. I love them because they have 2 pockets. One where I put usually my floss or whatever I want to put in there, scissors, this and that. And then I always put my pattern in there as well, and my piece. And I also love it that these will fit a Q-snap. I'll show you which size. I have it in this other project bag. But this is my Jane Austen piece. And I wanted to finish it for 2 reasons. One, like I just told you, I really wanted to get that finish for, to start another project. The other reason that I wanted to finish this is because I wanted to finish it in 2025. There's the beautiful floss and my Jane Austen floss tags. I wanted to finish this in 2025. That way, because it is Jane Austen's 250th birthday, as I've been talking about with the Stitch Jane hashtag, just wanted to get that done during her special year of celebration, which is this year. I figured I would finish it before the end of the year, but I'm so gung-ho to start Christmas stitching soon that I just went for it. And those are the floss drops that I mentioned Dad had made me. He was testing out some prototypes, so we did 2 little sizes. Aren't they cute? He sanded the inside so they're smooth enough for the floss. That one's a little bit rustic, so that's why there are prototypes. But I ended up just popping them on this project, and I moved some of the floss over to get to use them. And listen to this sound. I find that so satisfying, that soft clatter of wood. It is really comforting. So thanks again to Dad for those floss drops. Now, let's show you the picture and let's show you the finish. I've been working on 100 Different Ways by Plum Street Samplers. And I've been using the called for fancy floss. And I've also been using the DMC conversion. So it's been about a 50-50 split. And I've had to make some adjustments along the way as I've run out of floss or little things have come up, but I'm actually not going to describe all that to you because it would be a long saga if I told you all the little floss swaps that I made. But again, I used all these colors. Here is the finish. There it is. This is also, oh my goodness, look at the irony. This is also on Vintage Smoky White. A different type of piece. So where that one was a linen, this one is an even weave. Look how cute the couple is. I had such a great time stitching their little faces, her little head of hair, her little lipstick. He's got a little bit of color in his cheeks, but you can't really tell. And their faces are stitched over one. The rest of it is 2 strands of floss over 2 threads. I love that wreath. And there it is, 100 different ways. It says, I suppose there may be 100 different ways of being in love. Jane Austen. Now, I'm not going to go into the fun saga about the floss changes. Maybe I'll save that for my year-end whip parade, but the change that I did make that I am really glad that I made, and kind of what took me a while, is I changed up the way that the letters are inserted into this box. So there goes the quote, and right here there's this crooked little Y. You can see that. And then right here, there's a small in. It's downsized. So those 2 letters are, or those 2 little bits are not in line with everything else. And it's cute, it's quirky, and it's playful. But I decided that I wanted everything to be aligned. I just thought it's what I wanted to do and it would look really pretty. So I aligned everything, as you can see, which meant I had to make a few changes, and I had to, I wouldn't say rechart the alphabet, I just had to do some tweaks to get it all to fit. And I'm really happy that I did it. I'm really happy with the finished product. I like all the words being the exact same size. So just as an example, one of the changes that I made is, in order to fit that, where was it? Oh yeah, that Y. In order to fit that Y right here, I charted it on my own. That's the little Y I came up with. But I just condensed things a tiny bit. So one of the things that I did, and this is what took me a little bit longer, do I regret it? I did when I was stitching it, but I recharted the E. I dropped a stitch on every single E. I made it narrower. Each E is narrower by 1 stitch. I did the same thing with the A's. I brought them in by 1 stitch. So that was a little bit time consuming, that I couldn't exactly follow the chart. I had to kind of make up the way I wanted to do it on the first A, the first E, and then when I came back to another A or another E, I would look at how I had done it, which meant I kind of had to pull it out of my Q-snap and like reassess what I had done and recount it. And it was a little bit clunky doing it that way, but I'm so pleased with the end result. The other reason why I did that, and I'm just gonna be straight with y'all, is that I have a hard time counting, you guys. Counting in me is maybe my nemesis, and I don't like to frog. I only frog if I completely have to, in the sense that the piece will be wrecked if I don't rip out the stitches. And I will do that, and I have done that. There's some exceptions if I'm doing full coverage, which we're going to talk about with my next piece. If I'm doing full coverage, I am able to see it in that 10 by 10 grid, and I will correct it right away. But if I'm doing something on linen or even weave where I'm not gridding and I've made a mistake, if I don't absolutely have to take it out, I'm going to find a way to solve it. So this is one of those pieces. I think all of my pieces are. But somehow, miraculously, Joanne, who can't count, accidentally made this piece a little bit too narrow. I think it's too narrow by a singular stitch. And see at the very top where those flowers meet the edges, the green leaves of those flowers meet the edges? Well, in the actual pattern, they don't. Right? You can't see it on camera, but that one right there is 1 stitch away from the edge. So when I started this, right, I'm just stitching along at the very beginning, early 2025, so I really was only cross-stitching for a handful of months, and I thought, oh, wouldn't that be more attractive if I line everything up, right? It makes sense. My little brain thought, why did the pattern designer drop a stitch? You know, let's close it in. And if your heart is racing a little bit faster, that explanation, so is mine, because that meant for the rest of the piece, I was a stitch in. And it affected the this bit here, but it was easy enough to kind of like, oh, we'll just make this a little more like this, and da 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 da. When I got to the alphabet, it had to be way more precise, and that's where I got myself into a little bit of a pickle. And recharting the E and the A solved that problem. So again, that's how I'm going to solve a problem, more or less, instead of tearing things out, unless it will change the integrity or the enjoyment that I will get out of a piece. there it is. Thank you, Jane Austen, for that beautiful quote. And you can see that I've got that cute little pink heart here. Again, as I change that alphabet, the picture itself has 3 hearts and a little loop-de-loo. And I just decided to pop one in there. And it works. Once it's hanging on the wall, no one's gonna see the pattern. And I'm really proud of the houses, using those beautiful variegated flosses, these creamy white houses. It's even prettier in person where they're not perfectly white. They've got a little bit of, kind of a bit of a golden hue. The other changes that I made real quick are his boots. I made them gold instead of black. And instead of giving him a white kind of necktie, I gave him a gold one. I was just having a little bit of fun with that gold floss, because then I went on to the windows. Instead of making the interior of the windows white, you guessed it, I made them gold, just to give a little glow. So I got my own touches on this one, and I'm so proud. I'm so happy this one is done. I was really getting alphabet fatigue because I had just finished this little guy where, as you can see, there's a lot of alphabet, a lot of letters to be stitched, and then all the Halloween needed to be stitched. And I would bounce back on this one between letters and motifs, and I just kind of went back and forth for a few weeks until it was done. So by the time I got to this and I had to do that whole alphabet, I wasn't a happy camper for a good portion of this, but I just told myself, Joanne, just persevere, get it done. It's gonna be so precious when it's hung up on the wall, or you've got it displayed for Valentine's, or whatever I might pull this out for. I am thankful that I stuck with it, got the alphabet done, but it did help me see that I don't love stitching alphabets, really. They're not my favorite. There's times when I will like them, but yeah, I just got a little tiny bit fatigued. Let's do a quick side-by-side comparison. What do you say? So the Halloween, these are both fabrics that I'm showing you the little labels. So the Halloween piece was a 32 count Belfast linen, and I'll kind of give you a close-up shot of that, so we can compare the vintage smoky whites, right? The battle of the vintage smoky whites. This one is 25 count Lugana. And again, it's also vintage smoky white. So different counts, different weaves. And I'm gonna put them side by side just so you can kind of see in case you're shopping around for vintage smoky white. This is the 32, that's the 25. And they were both enjoyable to stitch on. I could do this one without a light, because maybe because it's white, it was pretty easy to see the contrast. And of course, I didn't use a light for this one since it was on 25 count. It was very, very comfortable. And yeah, there's your side-by-side of the vintage smoky whites. This is a proper, okay, no, it's not. Okay, so this is only on one side. See that? I don't think it's got it on that side. So that's that. Let's check this one out. Does it have it on both sides? It does not. So it only has it on the one side. And that just gives you a little comparison in case you're in the market for it. This one I got at the attic. This one I got from 123 Stitch. And these are gonna go in the finishing basket. I've got a little finishing basket in my stitchy cabinet here. And we're gonna bid farewell to these two patterns that, if you've been watching my channel, you've seen these quite a bit. They're all done, you guys. My heart is so happy and so satisfied to have those two finishes. And I'll dekit everything, which I'll talk about more in the future, because I kind of have been coming up with a dekitting system. If that interests you, let me know. Because my biggest pitfall is dekitting things. And I'm getting a lot better at it, where there might be previous videos where you see a bunch of clutter sitting on this little desk right here, and I'm really trying to avoid that. So I'm coming up with a new system of where to put floss in order to kit it, because I usually do want the project bags since I am limited on, I only have so many of these. So I like take it out and I dump it and then I go cross stitch. We're not doing that anymore. And so I'll tell you about my new system soon. Again, let me know if you're interested. I'll also show you this. This is my little book that I've referenced where I keep track of my projects and other good things that happen in the stitchy world, like Happy Meal or maybe DMC thoughts. DMC thoughts? What does that mean, Joanne? I meant to say a list of DMC that I need to reorder. Not DMC thoughts. There's Halloween sampler. I think you can see it right there. It needs its check mark. Shall we do it together? It's all done, which means this page is actually done because the only one that's not checked is Nettle, and Nettle's right there. There she is, right there, hanging out, which means I need to check off Nettle. And let's write down October 25 for Nettle, and let's write down October 25 for Halloween sampler. I don't always write down the days. It's fine if I don't write down the day. As long as I have the month, I'm happy. Now let's find the Jane Austen piece. There she is. She's my whip number 32. I don't have 32 whips. I should say she's project 32. Let's do the same thing with her. Let's check her off. Oh, that's a different one. That's the Jane Austen Quaker, which is my own pattern. You guys have seen that one. That's whip 32. Stay with me. There she is, number 22. 100 ways. Let's check that one off. And we're gonna write November 25. I know you don't really need to be there for this process, but as you could gather from the way I'm wired, if I don't do it now, I might never do it. So let's just make it happen. Okay, let me show you. I'm gonna go into my full coverage piece that I cannot wait to show you progress on. And before I do that, I wanted to do a little refresh on some giveaway winners. I've had these sitting in a bin and they haven't yet been claimed. And so I meant to kind of go back and see if I could find the comments, see if I could find the video and tag the winners. But I just know I'm not gonna really be able to do that. It would take a long time to comb through all those videos and figure out where I said what. So I'm just gonna go with what I have here, which is it's written down. This was the silk. You all saw this a few months ago where it was the kit with the linen, I think this is linen, and the silks. It's this lovely little kit. And I drew the winner. And I know sometimes people don't see videos, so I want to just give it one more shot. This is Wendy. Wendy Olette or Olay, I apologize. Oh, it's Flosstube number 14. I think I wrote that down because I just went to hunting and I looked through my notes. So from Flosstube number 14, Wendy was the winner. Wendy, if you see this video, shoot me a message. You can shoot me an email. It'll be in the description, my email, how you can find me, or drop me a comment, but best if you email me and we'll get that sent out. If it is, for any reason, these items are not seen, I'm gonna just draw new winners during the next video. So those of you watching, stay tuned. I think people are gonna be really excited that this one's still on the market. This is the shaker tray that Dad made. And this one is, the winner drawn for this one was Paulette Murray. That was Flosstube number 16. I love this tray so much. And I have another one that Dad made me. I tucked it around here somewhere. So Paulette, if you see this video, you're the winner of the shaker tray and I'll get that sent out. And I'll just keep these handy. And if they're still here for any reason, we'll draw more winners. But I want to give everybody a chance. I want to give everybody a couple chances to get their prizes because I think that's special. Alrighty, we are going to continue on with the whips. And something that someone dropped me a really helpful comment, or an interesting thought-provoking comment, was in the last video, and it's about one of my whips. First of all, I absolutely love your guys' comments, and I almost always reply, unless it's a really long list of comments. Say, for example, it was a giveaway or whip parade, I might not be able to respond to anyone, all of them, but I always hit the heart, which means I've read it and enjoyed it, and I almost always try to respond. So a couple of commenters that I wanted to give shout outs to, and I'm going to try and do this more often in my videos because you all really do make me smile, and you really do warm my heart. And I see your comments and I see your kindness. I see your stitching progress. I see your encouragement. I see all the good things out there. And I just wanted to give a couple of shout outs to some commenters more often. And so I'm going to do that today. I have them written in my notes. And I won't go into the great detail about the specific comments, but just wanted to give a couple little shout outs to some recent commenters that have shown up a couple of times lately. And that's the Crafty Librarian, the Coffee Stitcher, Martha Cook, Loretta Henderson, and stitcher in Alabama. Now, that's not a, you know, a full list of all those. There's so many more commenters that I could shout out, and so I'm going to try and pull new ones each time. And Loretta, who is on this list, I had to add her really quickly because I saw in my Flosstube dashboard that, Loretta, you have left the most comments out there, probably second only to my mother, and you've left 17 comments on my Flosstube channel, and this is Flosstube 19. So Loretta, sending you a big thanks for all your sweet words that you've sent my way, and everybody else that I've mentioned and will mention in the future. There's a lot of you out there, so I'm excited to get to share your names as I notice those comments coming through. And it will be in no particular order, no rhyme or reason, except trying to pull ones that I haven't mentioned before. So that's our first time at that. One of those comments was Jan So Happy. Hello, Jan, who dropped me a comment about the lion, and it was while I was talking about some stitchy plans in the last video. Jan mentioned, and she said, what happened with your lion that you were stitching? And Jan, good news, I still have the lion. He is in that, there's a basket, my basket of whips is sitting right up there, and he's in there. He's waiting to be stitched on. I'm gonna pull him out during my end of year whip parade. So within a few weeks to a month or so, I'll be doing that end of year whip parade, and you're gonna see the lion again. And I'll talk more about why he's been in timeout. He's gonna come out of timeout, but he went into timeout, and I'll tell a little bit more about that. So I just wanted to say that Jan's comment gave me a smile when she was saying, what happened to the lion? He is taking a little cat nap. If you know what I mean there. He's taking a little cat nap, and he's gonna come out really soon. And I can't wait to show you guys that project again. So thanks always for your comments and your kindness to everybody out there, everybody who's watching. Okay, carrying on with the whip progress. You guys have seen it. We've talked about it in great depth, and it is, if it started here, it's this close to a finish. It's so close. It's Christmas journey. You know I love Santa. This picture has my heart. Santa has my heart with his lantern and his bag of toys in that beautiful snowy scene, the church and that tree. I just love this image, and I cannot wait to get to display it on my wall. And it is getting closer and closer. I'm going to show you what we've got here. Now, the last time you saw this was a couple of episodes ago, and I was stitching on Santa. Actually, I was hanging out with my son, and we were stitching away, and it was before my surgery. It was the night before my surgery. For those of you who might be new around here, I have recently gone through cancer, and I am on the upswing of recovery and doing really well. You can see that my hair is coming in, it's growing back in, and having had surgery late this summer, so just a few months ago, was a really big ordeal. And heading into that, I had the comfort of cross stitching. This was one of those pieces. I also did a little piece that I kitted up for the hospital, which is, it's a little pillow. Let's see if we can grab it. This little pillow, which you all knew I kitted up as my hospital stitch. It smells like cinnamon. And this is the one, obviously I wasn't gonna bring my Q-snap to the hospital. I mean, I could have, but I didn't want to bring all my full coverage piece. But I stitched on this the night before with my son. He was doing some stitching on his Harry Potter piece, and we were listening to an audiobook. And I'm gonna try not to cry. If I cry, they're happy tears. And it's because when we face really scary things, and when we face really hard things, we have things that we can turn to that provide comfort. It might be family, or a pet, or a place, or a story, or a song, or a movie, or a hobby. And there's many more things that could go onto that list. And for me, I was in a comfy place with someone that I love, my son. We were listening to a beloved audiobook, and I was stitching. And I felt a lot of peace while I was working on this. And to take hard things in life, when we face hard things, and I tell this to my husband sometimes, because he loves that I stitch. He thinks it's so wonderful. That one of the things that I love about it is it takes something challenging like this. Someone who doesn't stitch would say, ooh, that looks so hard. But when we're stitchers, we get to take something that's hard and we get to turn it into a single X. And that's all we have to do. And we get to turn it into another X and another X. And we get to play with beautiful colors and textures and patterns. And it makes me feel very emotional. I'm trying not to cry because I'm an easy crier. But that's the power of cross stitch or handicrafts or the things that we love to do. And this was no exception. So this Christmas journey, which is by Leisure Arts, has that very, very special place in my heart because it's more than a pattern. It's more than a piece. It's more than, you know, a craft. It is comfort stitching, as comforting as it can get. That's what this one was. With that intro, let's talk about the actual piece. It is still on the key snap. I will pop it out a tiny bit so you can see it, but I haven't ironed this one yet. The reason I haven't ironed it is because it has grid lines that I have drawn with the marker, and I just was a little scared that if I added heat, I didn't know what would happen because this is water soluble. And all the floss is here on a floss ring, or this I should say is most of the floss. A few pieces are kind of floating around. I like to label my floss rings with the project, and that way, because sometimes I do pull them out to borrow floss, and then I'll sometimes, because you know Joanne, she likes to just drop things and run, I will hook them on there. They're labeled, and so they make sure that they get to their project bag. You ready to see Santa? I have done a fair bit of work on his coat, and his bag is what I did this past week. There he is. He's coming together. I love this project. Let's take it out of, let's open up this side. Again, it's not big, so this is everything. Should we just go for it? You guys got a moment? Let's take it out. If you're not going anywhere, I'm not going anywhere. Got my little needle and my little thingamabob. Let's just get out here. You guys don't care if it's not ironed, right? It's gonna be a bit wrinkly. Q-snap can go there. I'm stitching it on this size, which this is the size that I referenced fit in that bag. I don't know what this is. Maybe it's a 10 by 10 or an 8 by 8. I really don't know. So that's about as useful as a bag of rocks. But here is the full width of this piece. Oh, I love it, and I will always love it. This is gonna be an heirloom on the wall someday. And there's that tree. That was one of my favorite things, was that tree. It just made me, reminded me of home, because I used to live in the mountains, and I used to have a tree like that in my front yard. And I still do, because I still have that home. It's being rented, but I still have that tree. And then there's the little church, there's the mountains, and of course the sky, and Santa with his walking stick and his lantern. And it's gonna have some beads, it's gonna have some kryonic, that's all to come, are those accessories. And this is gonna be a drum right here. I have it on the iPad. I might, if we have time in the video, I'll talk to you about the iPad, but if we don't, we'll put a bookmark in that. The reason why I didn't finish this jacket is because I am saving some of the red. So because I had done all these trees, these were the trees that I had done during those stitchy sessions I was just describing this summer, it was a lot of brown. And so I knew that I wanted to save some of that red of his coat. That's kind of like my dessert. As I'm doing all the brown of the bag and the trees and of course his boots, I like to just do small portions of the red. That way I have it to come back to when I need a little brown break. So that's why his coat is only partially done, is I'm savoring the final colors. I think I only have one more shade of red, and I have one more shade of the brown, and then I've just begun his boots. This will be his boots, and then he'll just be standing on a little bit of snow. So there's really not a lot of stitching left to do. Once his boots, coat, and bag are done, the main elements will be finished, and I have to do that little drum. That's gonna be a little hard because there's a lot of colors and it's a lot of half stitches, and that will be right there. And then I'm gonna head into the back stitching. My hope is to finish it this year. I would really like to finish it this December. I won't, make a hard or fast goal or plan or commitment, but that is my secret goal, is to finish this in December. And I have other Christmas stitching that I'm gonna pull out, a couple other pieces that are in my whip pile, and of course, something that I'm gonna start soon. But that's Christmas journey. That is my very first full coverage piece. It's not very big, which is why this was such a great piece to be my first full coverage. As you can see, it's not large at all when you think of like a Heaven and Earth design or Pain-Free Crafts or any of those types of full coverage. This is a lot smaller. I will say, in case anybody's new and you are falling in love with this pattern, I will give you my little word of caution, and it is that in the grid, which is 10 by 10, there's an 8 right there. It took me a lot of videos and a lot of heartache to finally figure that out. So if you do stitch it, if anybody wants to stitch it, these are my tips. Get the PDF pattern straight from Leisure Arts. It's only $5 and the grid is pretty doable, but just be mindful that you're gonna have that. So don't do it on pre-gridded fabric. You're gonna have to grid it yourself. That's Christmas journey. He's on a journey. It's November 19th today. And yeah, he is staying very much out in my stitchy space this November and December to see if I can get it finished before Christmas. If I can't, that's okay. It did break my heart a little bit to finish this a few days after Halloween because I really wanted to get that finished. But we can't win them all, right? What matters the most is that I'm going to be sitting by the fire. I'm going to be sitting by the Christmas tree, watching Christmas movies, listening to Christmas carols, drinking cocoa, and all the good things while I work on this. That's where the memories really come from. That's what's the most important for me, and I look forward to that. Oh, one thing I want to show you, it's sitting right here, is I use my little book light. I meant to show it to you when it was all attached, but let me just do a quick demo. I'll put one piece on here. When I have my key snap, I use my book light, and it goes like that. I love this thing. This is the brand, right there. I'm gonna link it below. I just get it on Amazon. I'll drop it there with the project bags, my little Amazon favorites. And I hit the button. See if I can put some cloth so you can kind of see. Here comes the cat. I almost made it through this video, but she's here. She's gonna talk to you guys. So that is it without the light. I've got a bright light here, so it's probably not making a very big difference, but there it is when I have that on. And then it has a cool function, and then it has a really warm function. Again, if I didn't have that light on, you would be able to see it better, but this little guy, I keep it in my project bag. It fits. It's kind of rubbery. These are all like rubbery, and so it actually clamps on pretty well to a key snap. There's a few times that it's gone flying. Maybe once she says it just goes flying and I have to grab it and clamp it back on, but I'm fine with that. So I love this little guy. I use him on my hoops as well. It's a little more sketchy because it's touching the fabric, so I really shouldn't do that. But on the Q-snap, I feel pretty comfortable having my book light, and I charge it with one of those little chargers. So this is my buddy, and my husband bought this for me when we first got married as a book light, and it's basically become my little cross stitch light. When I'm on the couch or different places where I just want a little extra light, or if he's trying to sleep. Okay, I think I have a few other fun things to talk about before this video ends, and I forgot to tell you that I've got some glorious haul to show you, and we'll go over that next. Some of it's new, some of it's yard sale haul, and I know that we've done a couple of videos here of yard sale haul, so I feel like you guys enjoy that sort of thing. Got a little bucket of goodies that I got at an estate sale that are all cross-stitching related, so we're going to dive into that. One thing that I want to say before I do the haul is a couple of upcoming videos that I'd like to put together, and goals. So one of those goals is going to be holiday stitching. I probably already touched on that. I just want to stitch Christmas in the coming days and weeks. I know I pulled out a couple fall pieces, but once I really assessed the Christmas journey, this Leisure Arts pattern, I thought it's going to take a lot of time to get that done by Christmas, a lot of dedication. And since I had a couple other pieces in the works, I was going back and forth. I want to go full force into Christmas now. Holiday stitching is one of those plans. Full coverage is one of those plans. Because this full coverage piece is getting close to a finish, because I have 2 other finishes, and by golly or alive, let's make it happen, right? I'm going to start another full coverage piece, and I cannot wait to show it to you. I'll get into more detail. I might make its own video so I can kind of show you my process of what I've done of like selecting the pattern. I've been kitting it up. I've been doing my fabric. I'll give you a little sneak peek. This is just the fabric. This is just a piece of easy grid. These are the trimmings from the fabric that I cut off. So I cut my fabric yesterday and that's all coming together. So you're gonna see that in a future video, either its own floss tube or in a regular floss tube. And I'm still dreaming of that stitch with me that I mentioned I'd really like to do. So a stitch with me is on the way. Maybe we could stitch some on Santa. What do you think? I think that would be really fun. One of the things I ordered in addition to that fabric for the new pattern is I ordered myself a new Q-snap. I've never had an official Q-snap. I have one that is bigger than this, but it's a quilting frame and it's not always the best. So treated myself to a 17 by 17. I might be using this for my full coverage, but I haven't decided yet. I just wanted to go ahead and get a large Q-snap. I really am a Q-snap girl. I use hoops, but you can see my hoop collection here, and I have some others. Q-snaps are my jam. The other thing I'm going to give you a sneak peek into, sorry for the crinkle, is, as I mentioned, I've been kitting up that full coverage. I'll give you another little teaser. It has 85 colors, and I've been pulling colors from stash, and I had to buy the remaining colors that I did not have, and here they are. I want to say I've got about 20-ish skeins here, so I think having 20 out of 85 that I had to buy is pretty good. So I've been slowly kitting that up from stash, but these are the colors that I still needed. So there's a sneak peek. That's my GMC. Let's talk about the goodies from the estate sale. Now, my dad and I, you've seen him talked about on this channel. Mom and I are always blessed by all the goodies that he finds us at estate sales, the things that he makes us. He finds us things, he makes us things. He's made, the tray, the floss card, and many more things. Dad is an avid yard sailor. He's like a professional. He loves to look up estate sales, and he likes to find treasures. So he knows what Mom and I are looking for. I have a bucket here in my lap. I don't want to show you because I want to give it away, of the goodies that Dad and I found. We spent a Saturday morning together. I spent the night. We woke up, we drank coffee. Mom and I and Dad had a cup of coffee, and Dad and I went yard selling. So he had it all planned out. This is the first item. This isn't something that I picked out. He got this for me. And it's a little organizer for the shelf. And it's books, as you can see, but it's got little cubbies where you can put scissors and little doodads. And I think he got it for me because I'm a story stitcher, and I think this says story stitcher pretty well. What do you think? It's so pretty. I absolutely love it. It literally looks like a book. I cannot wait to display it on one of my shelves. Maybe it even look really cute back here. So thank you, Dad, for that first find. He had that for me already when I arrived that day. Now these are the goodies that I found at the estate sale. Poked through bins. When we walked into the house, I asked the gentleman who was running it. My dad always asks if they have coins because that's what he loves to look at. And I said, do you have any? I said sewing supplies because usually people don't really know what cross stitch is. So I said, do you have any sewing supplies? He goes, oh boy, do we. His mother was an avid quilter, and so bins upon bins of quilting material. She also cross stitched, so I found a few little cross stitch items as well. Now, this has nothing to do with quilting or cross stitch, but I got a bag of apples for the Christmas tree. Aren't these cute? They're just little wooden apples, and I'm gonna hang those on my Christmas tree because I thought those were really charming. Or I could use them to decorate. I could even maybe hang some on this cute little tree. So I spent a few dollars on those. This is pretty special. This is a cross stitch tin. It's made out of cross stitch. It's a Whitman sampler, and I'm just gonna tell you really quickly what it says on the back. It says, the beautiful sampler shown on this tin has been carefully hand-stitched by Whitman's Candies employee, Carol Smedland, who enjoys cross-stitching in her spare time. It is an adaptation of a holiday sampler which first appeared in a Whitman's ad in the Saturday Evening Post on December 11th, 1926. I had to have it. This is like an embroidery So that raised embroidery, and then all of this is actually cross stitch. Isn't that special? What a treasure. Look at all that cross stitch. I think the guy told me $2 for the tin. And there's even some cross stitch on the sides. Oh my gosh, I absolutely love it. So it's empty. I will put in some, who knows what I'll put in here? What should I put in here? I could put DMC, I could put Christmas colors, I'll find something nice to put in here. And if I haven't showed you lately, this is my second cross stitch tin. The first one is right here. And this is one that Dad found me as well. I currently have sewing supplies in here, but it's all little tiny, little cross stitch dots, a little cross stitch pattern with the handles. Those are my cross stitch tins. Starting a little collection. What do you think? Should we find more? So that was a lovely find. Now let's keep going. I did find a piece of Aida in the mix. This is 14 count. It's a 12 by 18 piece, and the brand is Super Value. So I know that this has probably been around for a while. The cost was 97 cents way back when. And it's a beautiful piece of kind of an oatmeal type of fiddler's cloth. Other things that I got, again, because she was mostly a quilter, I hit the jackpot on scissors. I feel like maybe I had one more pair. I got scissors and snips. I've given my mom one already. Got these. I'm going to tell you how much I paid for all this when we're done too. I got these, which I'm pretty interested in these. They are, whoop, like that, nice and sharp. And it has a little cover, so I can of course put those in a project bag. And I got a rotary cutter, which I don't really have one. My daughter has one, but I really should stop stealing her stuff. There's the rotary cutter. And that was in my bin that I paid one low price for. The last thing that I got, oh wait, one little thing, I just couldn't resist it. I got this button. Isn't it cute? It reminded me of something Christmas, or it could go really cute on like a little tomato if I make a tomato stitch. So she had a jar of buttons, and I just tossed that in the little bin here. And then I got some fabrics, and I'll just go through these really quickly so you can see the beautiful colors. Thought that would be gorgeous for fall. That beautiful blue. This beautiful one. Let me turn this one around so you can actually see it properly as I unfold it. I don't know that these are Civil War reproductions. I don't really think that they are, but they give me that kind of homespun folky vibe. And it's this blue one. It has little stars. So what I loved about these, and why I selected these, because she had thousands of colors of fabric. I selected these because I thought they'd be really cute for multiple projects. They could be summer, they could be winter, they could be fall. This one's only fall really, but this could be even Christmas if I wanted it to be, or 4th of July. So lots of possibilities there. And I have more fabric. This little one was a darling. This is a little vintage bit. And they're tiny little hearts. How cute would that be for Valentine's Day? So I got those little hearts. And the creme de la creme on the fabric front is still coming, so hang with me here. Beautiful stripes. And then I got a good chunk of this, which again I thought would be really cute for 4th of July. It would also be cute for Valentine's. Either of these really. So lots of options there. And if you know me, you know that I'm a fan of Mary Inglebright. You know how sometimes we have those little nostalgic touches in life. Mary Inglebright is just one of them. It will always remind me of my mother, and I'm actually going to cut some of this and share it with her because she has like little magnets and things that are Mary Inglebright. I got 4 Mary Inglebright fabrics, which I'm really excited about. I'll give you a little close-up. That one, Life is Just a Bowl of Cherries. That one. And last of all, this one. I don't know if this one is Mary Inglebright. I'd have to read the label, but maybe I'll do that later when we have time, but this was in the mix. I don't think this is. So this is just comparable. Those are the fabrics. Those are all the fabrics that I got. Aren't they beautiful? And these are gonna get neatly folded, put away in my cabinet here where I like to keep my finishing fabric because I love to make little pillows and things. So can't wait to do that. And the bin is empty. That's the bin. It's all empty. And that's everything that I've got this week. I cannot wait to come back and show you more project progress on Santa, other lovely Christmas stitching, and more. So you'll be seeing me in a few Flosstube extras in the coming weeks, and I will be dropping that little, continue to drop more teasers of my next full coverage piece. It's gonna be a lot bigger, and I am having a blast kitting it up. That's what I do in my spare time. When I'm not stitching, I'm kitting up floss, all 85 colors. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Again, I'm Joanne the Story Stitcher, and I'll say goodbye, and I'll see you soon.